Hello everyone. Today we're going to rig this deer here and kind of finish the video we started yesterday. So one of the first things I'm going to do, I was debating on doing the nostrils. You know what? We won't go into all that. So we're in edit mode on the rig, and one of the first things I want to do is I want to hit A or tap A twice, and then I want to go to bone roll, and I want to clear all my rolls. Clear your rolls. So now we have everything kind of set up to rig. So let's go out of edit, and then we're going to select the mesh and then the rig. So the rig's in object mode now. You know what? One thing I might do before we get into this is I'm going to detach the eyes. And it's just because it's easier to just rig the eyes when they're separate. And then we can just reattach them back later. So I've just selected one vertex on each eye, and then I hit Control plus, and that grows your selection. And then I'm going to hit P on the keyboard and choose Selection, and then Tab. So now the eyes are not selected. And then I'm selected on the mesh, and I'm going to Shift Select on the bones, and then hit Control P on the keyboard and choose Automatic Weights. Alright, now let's go into weight painting. I don't think we have a specific window for that. No. So let's go into weight paint, and I think there is one issue with 2.8, and that's with moving bones around. I think you can, because it's difficult to switch between, but maybe I can. Let me see here. If I go to pose here and then, see, it won't let me choose. Maybe I can change this in workspace though. Object mode. Weight paint mode. And then choose the mesh. This is interesting. I probably should be working through this right now. Pose mode. Yeah, it won't let me choose the mesh then. Huh. Okay. Let's go back to object. Yeah, I can't keep it in pose mode and then go into here. But we really don't need to do that. I mean, that's you want to be able to move your bones around for sure when you're weight painting. But let's just get this weight painted. So I probably... Well, let's look at it in weight paint and let's go from there. Maybe I'll figure out a better workflow, because we can choose the bones if we go to our vertex groups, and we can choose the bones individually here and which ones they're getting weighted to. And on the mesh, we probably want wireframe. So let's, not that solid. We usually, right there, all edges. Okay, so now we can start weight painting, and here's our brush. So I want to add probably, and strength, I probably don't want it up that high, probably 0.6 or so. So let me go back to bones and go back to head. because this one's going to be probably the most messed up, and maybe I just want to turn strength up to all the way, and then I'm going to paint, make sure I can see through the mesh so it's getting all of it. And it'll all be in the head. And that pretty much gets weighted almost entirely. I got a little bit of, let me undo that, yeah. So we're just quickly going through and weight painting this head, and I just have it at 100 because most of this should be part of the head, not feathered out. So just like that. And but there is that issue of changing bones, and I don't know that I've completely solved that. Alright. And I kind of don't like this in a way, because usually when you can select bones too, it gives you better control in the weight painting window. And these probably are going to get 100% weighted. And you know, one thing we probably do, okay, X mirror is on, symmetry X. Okay. And then, let's see here. I should be able to go through the mesh, shouldn't I? That's the only thing. I think some of the weight painting stuff is a little bit sensitive. I don't know. It's almost like sometimes you have to, if you're not at the right angle, it's hard to get the weight completely on there. And this is all pretty tight in here, but not too bad. And let me just look way back inside there. See what I mean about just navigating around? When you are selected on an actual bone, you pivot on that bone, and then it just makes it really easy. And another thing we can do here, I probably have to get out of weight paint, select the bones, and then I think it's a viewport. Yeah, I can turn these into sticks so they're not in the way so much, and then I can go back to the mesh and back into weight painting. Make that, I probably could come to about here. Well, we'll see. When I can open up the jaw and stuff, then when I have all that weighted. Sucks not to be able to just select the bone. Oh, and that's terrible. Oh, you know, one thing I noticed right away is I don't have, I think it's on the brush, you should always turn auto normalize on. Okay, so let me go back to the head. See, what auto normalize will do is it will take everything that's added up. Let me show you. So if I just select one vertex, I can look at all the bones that are influencing it, and mostly it's just the head right now. Well, all of it is the head. But when you use normalize, it normalizes all of these weights to equal 1. Okay, because there's probably, yeah, like right in here, you can see these don't equal 1. There's 1 here, but there's 0.7 there, so this doesn't all add up to 1. So when you auto normalize, everything equates to, or ends up being, a total of 1. And I need to turn that off. Okay, so let's repaint this real quick, so that way we have it all normalized well, at least reasonably. All right. And then when we weight paint everything else, now, as you can see here, so I think that one needed to be hit. Yep. And some of this stuff. All right. And let me go to like subtract here and subtract 100%. Because the jaw does not need to touch anywhere near the eye. Definitely not the nose. And it probably doesn't need to come back this far. Definitely not in here. So just clean up the weights on each one of these bones. I'll make this like there. And just gradually bring this away so it kind of smoothly moves in. Now there must not be another weight there. Neck. So let me just hit it one time like there. Because if it doesn't have any weights, it can't like normalize the weights to something else. So there's the jaw. And I want to subtract. Subtract. Just like that. See, this one doesn't have another bone connected to it. So we kind of have to add one. So add. And maybe a little bit more. Just a touch. Subtract. Just a little bit. Okay. Now let's go to jaw. And let's just try and make this very even. You know, I really do kind of like the look. I mean, you can kind of tell the gradient a little bit better. But I do not know what's up with not being able to select the bone. I will figure that out though. This needs to be 100% out there. Why won't it go through? Alright. Like, sometimes you get these weird angles like that where it just won't hit. And then when you can't rotate on the bone, that's what makes this. Maybe I should spend a little bit more time and start digging. Because obviously there must be a way to select the bone. Okay, I think I got it all. And then we have a tongue too, so what is going on there? Definitely subtract all of that. Oh, look at that. The tongue is on the top of the... I mean, you have to look very closely at all these weights. Okay. Yeah, I probably should have done the weight painting in 2.79. rest of that doesn't look too bad up in here. Get rid of this. Yeah, some of this weight painting stuff is annoying though, because weight painting is tedious as it is. Okay, tongue 2. That actually doesn't look like it's all that bad. Okay, let's leave that. What else do we have here now? Head. Okay. We do have eyes or eyelids. Top left. Okay. So let's just clean up some of this real quick. Make sure we don't have anything bleeding over. Okay. And this, see, I really do kind of need to be able to move this bone to tell. Am I at 100? Yes, I am. So dial that back. There we go. And take all that away, because that'll be the lower lid. And maybe feather some of this out. Just a bit. Probably doesn't need to be right. Okay. And that should, let me check. See, because I'm auto-normalizing, if I add, I can say I want the head weight to come in here better, which I do. And one thing about weight painting too, you know, in Sansar we can have pretty detailed meshes with decent poly counts. This deer is only like 4,000, so it's really low poly. But you shouldn't try and put more vertices than you need, though, because there's only so many vertices you really need to make something look fairly realistic. And if you put more vertices in there than you need, then you're just creating more work for yourself. Because like all this, imagine if I had twice as many vertices that I had to detail-y paint in here. Okay, so I think I have that looking pretty decent. And remember, I'm mirroring all this stuff. So everything I'm doing on one side is mirrored to the other side. And this should all be pretty deep red. Go like that. Yep. Looks pretty good now. Well, it's getting there, for sure. What else do we want to look at? Eyelid top, right? Left. Okay. But to really do these eyes, I need to control the bone. Lower left. Oh wow, look at that's a mess. Subtract. Strength. Let's get rid of all this. There we go. It's all cleaned up. Does not need to influence any of that. What the heck is going on there? Oh, you know what? I'm probably getting into the other side. That's so strange. Alright, let's do it like this. Maybe not 100%. 100. Or all the weight. There we go. Get rid of this. That. All right. There's a little bit up here. You really got to watch out for the stray weights, and that's where it really helps to move the bones around. I probably should have figured that out before I started this video. And let's just fade this in a little bit more. Maybe just a hair. Okay, and let's look at my head weights again. Jaw, let's clean that up. And this still looks like it's way too much in here now. It's probably because we cleaned up more of it. I don't want to take away all of it. So like that. Yeah, so many times, especially when you're normalizing, you know, things get, bones, the weights get taken away, so now you're left with more weights in certain areas. So then you have to come in here and kind of smooth them out. Is the head influencing any of this? I should probably add in a little bit of the head here. Yeah. There too. Just as an influencer, maybe just a little bit there. So yeah, I really don't, I like to do very short, quick videos because it's kind of difficult to hold people to watch you to weight paint, to hold their attention. Okay, that is starting to look pretty good to me, but I really wish I could rotate these bones. Let's get into the ears now. Okay. Why? I should have relabeled those, but it doesn't really matter. Oh, lots of cleanup here. Subtract 100. Clean this all up. Do these? Yeah, it's always on. It just saves you so much work when you turn auto normalize on. So let's clean up all this. Why is that happening? That's strange. Okay. Let me see. Could be something in the head. Alright, let's go add. Make that 100%. Yeah, I don't know what was going on there. Let's go back to the ear. Alright, it looks cleaned up. But should I bleed this in a little bit more? Maybe just a hair. Bring that down to there and just hit this very lightly. See, look at that. It's happening on the other side. So something wacky's going on there. Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on there. Yeah. Is symmetry Vignaria. Figures you gotta jump in when I got problems. Alright. I don't know what is going on there. So let me look at that. So let me just turn X mirroring off. And it's still doing it. Symmetry X. Okay, there we go. And so whatever reason that was happening, you can control it by doing that. Maybe I can still use this, and maybe that was screwing it up. Could be. So let's add. Yeah, looks to be working better now. I'll do that. Okay. So now let's add back in this little feather here. There we go. Okay. Now let me just make sure. Yeah, that is there. Let me just subtract all that. Yeah, so maybe using that extra setting in there is not good. And really, you just need the one. I mean, X mirror. Okay, so let's feather this bone out now that we've figured out that issue. Why can't I see through it? Alright, let's go to the next bone. These actually don't look too bad the way they're... I mean, the auto weighting can do a decent job as long as everything is within like a certain distance from the bone. See, this I don't like. There. Kind of even that out. And go to the bone. Okay. It's really just kind of looking at things with your eye and smoothing the transitions between each bone. See, now this is totally off, so we obviously need more in here. And just try and make it more gradual. I think that all looks pretty decent. And I'm gonna check the other side just to make sure. It should have mirrored it all. Okay. That all looks really good. Or satisfactory. When it comes to doing weights though, I tend to, I'll get my initial set of weights here, like I'm doing. And then once I start animating the rig, I'll kind of adjust the weights from there too. Because once you start moving the bones around like it needs to move in real life or in the game, then you're going to expose many more flaws in the rigging or in the weights. Okay, this one for the neck, to me this is a bit too harsh. It needs to be, I would like it a lot more gradual in here, because this is going, should be transitioning into the head weights. Okay. And maybe that. It's really just eyeing it too. I mean, you can go by numbers, looking at each weight on each vertice, but that would kind of take forever. And there are also other, I'm mostly using add and subtract here. And it's mostly because I don't have a ton of bones to deal with. If I had more bones, then I would likely use, or more vertices, then I would likely use something, a mix, or there should be like a blending multiple. No, not a multiplier. There should be a blending one in here though. Lighten, darken, draw. Yeah, I don't see it in here. But yeah, there should be one in there that's like for blending. I guess I'll have to look. And if there's a blender that's kind of lacking with all this stuff, it's probably in weight painting and all that. Let's see, this looks pretty good. Neck 2 can, and it goes a little high in here, but it can feather more than the other ones because it's kind of the middle bone. It doesn't look terrible. Okay, and neck 1. And this is where you really kind of need to rotate a bone to look at it. But we'll set up these initial weights, and that way at least we'll get these all set up. And then once we get into animating, I'll show you how you can adjust weights from there too, or how you should. Those don't look too bad. That looks not bad. Oh, look at it spelled wrong. I was too quick. I should really have more weights in here. This is supposed to be the chest bone, and there's no weights in here. So something has to kind of hold that part of the mesh in place. And what's happening right now, if I go to the collar, most of that's being controlled by the legs, and that is not what we want. So I'm going to go back to, where is it, chest? And I'm going to actually paint in more weights in here to hold kind of the chest in place. And I'm just going to paint this in. And I've done this enough times, I kind of know what I need to do. And this is pretty common for like animals and stuff, and sometimes it might even be good to add in an extra bone that like sticks out down here to control the chest. But I don't think we need to get that complicated with this deer. And how far up? Probably want to come pretty high. Let's see how high the collar reaches. Yeah, okay. chest. I'm getting lost in this because of the way I'm forced to use it. I think before the next video, I will definitely, because this is a multi-part video if you haven't noticed already, very long, but I at least want to get a character decently rigged for this part. And that doesn't look too bad. We can have some, just want to touch on these, not too much. And then, where's that neck? That neck is covering quite a bit of that. But we could have some chest weights in here. Just to have another bone kind of pulling. Okay. And then maybe even to light feather in there. I think that looks good. Okay. Now get into the legs. Okay. Collar. Now that collar, it's underneath. It's underneath the skin, so it really shouldn't have this much effect on anything. Because the arm bone or the shoulder bone is going to be controlling most of this stuff. Or it should be, actually. So I'm just want to lessen the impact of this bone almost entirely. Okay. Definitely not down into there. Because that's all what the other bones are going to be controlling. Definitely not into there. At least not that much. And less here. And I could probably just give it a good pass where I just hold down and it's going to subtract kind of the same amount across the whole thing. Okay. Maybe a little less in here. Okay. I think that is not bad. Left side. Yeah. It's copying, mirroring it pretty well. So now into the shoulder. Oh my god. Okay. Just clean all this up. And again, I can't stress enough how important it is to have auto-normalizing on. Auto-normalizing. Okay. I think I'm getting something reasonable now. So let's lessen all this. So the shoulder bone should not be reaching into the chest like this so much, even though that could probably be completely eliminated there. Okay, so let's just try and keep feathering this in a gradual way. This is obviously way too much. I hope you see like what I'm saying about like the vertices. The more vertices you have, I mean, it's great to have nicely detailed models, okay, but the more vertices you have, the more weight you're going to need to deal with. Like that. Okay, I think I'm good. Arm. So let's get rid of this. Get rid of this. Okay. It's way too intense there. There. And maybe add and a little bit right there. And that looks pretty good. We'll see how this one, we might need more in here. So, like that, and just a touch on the knee. On that elbow or whatever it is. Okay. Next bone, forearm. And it's mostly with these, you know, there isn't that much cleanup. Doesn't look too bad. And maybe, let's see. Probably could. Let's add one, just a nice layer in here of weights. Just to influence it a little. And down here, just touch it a bit. Oh, this is going to be a long video, weight painting. We're almost there. That's probably good. Okay, so there's the legs. So we did kind of knock that off. What else? Spine. Now these shouldn't get too much into the legs. Let me subtract a little. Doesn't look bad though. Okay, so now we want to do kind of the hind legs, hips right there. Let's go left hip. Okay, now this one's kind of like the shoulder in a way that it's really kind of under the skin mostly. So it really shouldn't be influencing any of this other stuff. Definitely not the ass too much, at least. Well, maybe a little bit in here. Yeah. I like that. That, and it doesn't, you know, it's not that much influence in here, so I'm not that worried about it. A bone that probably, well, let me do the thigh and get this looking nice, and then we can look at some of the other parts in here. Let me just clean up all of this, make sure there's no weights there. This is going to be a long video. Well, it's a good thing I didn't pick a more complex character, right? Okay, I think I like where that is. Get rid of anything up here. Okay. Alright. Probably this could be less though. definitely less in here, especially there. No reason it should reach this far. I might need another bone in there. Let's see. I should look at some of these other bones, though. Let me clean up this stuff. So messy in this crossover, gosh. Oh, look at... kind of makes sense. Okay, there's obviously nothing... There should be weights on something here, and there isn't. So let me go up here. Spine 1 should probably have some of that, but a lot of that might be in tail 1. Yeah. And that bone probably is not going to move all that much. So, which is good. It's probably getting a little past where I should be using it. Okay, but again, the bone is not moving, so I can kind of use it to kind of stabilize this whole area. Okay, I think all of this looks really good now. Let's get into the side of the hip. So some of this could come a little bit into here. Just give those verts a little something pulling on them a little. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, that's all starting to look really good to me, and we'll move down this leg now. That right there. Let me see. Are we still streaming? Yeah, looks like it. All right, in here, this is not looking good at all. And you know, you can get rid of some of this stuff, like so, just in the overlays, just so you're not having to see through them. Yeah, right there. Okay, that looks good. In here, we could add a little more. get rid of a little bit here. Right there. So we have something that's a little bit smoother. And then the next one doesn't look too bad now, because when you're normalizing them, they kind of affect the next bone down also. What do we subtract? Yeah. Maybe add. Hit that a few times. Just for it to be a little bit more gradual. And that's, we still have the tail. Let's see. So the tail, subtract right there. And that probably gets a little too deep in here. Don't want the tail influencing that much. And then tone this down just a little. Definitely remove any of that. And that doesn't look too bad. Make sure we're not hitting anything there, and I think I just want to add a little bit there, and maybe even more. Okay, and the next one doesn't look bad. Could totally have more there. It's just how well they blend. These are just linked bones, so it's just you want them to blend well into the other one. Well, the bone ends here, so I do want some blending into that next bone. This is uneven here. Try and make it somewhat even. So this one could go into there just a little bit more. And this last bone. Probably add a little more. Okay. And one last bone on the tail. Add a little bit more here. And there we go. That's pretty much a good, oh, we haven't done the eyes. Okay, so let's get out of weight paint. Now that you'll see, this is why I do the eyes kind of separately. So we're an object. I want to select the eyes right there, and I want to weight paint. And actually, I'm going to get rid of the model, and I want to weight paint these eyes. Okay, but these eyes, oh, I didn't rig them. Okay, well, let's rig them. Or I didn't parent them to the rig. Okay, so the mesh, the rig, Control P, we'll go automatic weights, and then weight paint, and eyes. There we go. See through. Okay. make this 100%. We're on the left eye there, so we'll just paint the whole thing red. Let's see here, make sure we get the whole thing. Yeah, I really don't like this, how it rotates around, because I can't select a button. But I promise you, in the next video, I will figure that out, because we're going to need to do that. And I did that with the parrot. So, right eye, so that was mirrored. So now my eyes should be working as, should be right. Okay, and now I can take, we'll go into object mode. I can show the deer, and I can reattach them, because now the eyes are all rigged, and I didn't have to deal with other parts of the mesh being in the way. So I have the eye selected. I can just select the deer now and join. Okay. And now that we have that all set, I can, wait, let me just take off, what am I doing? Object. Let me just remove the wireframe, and then I'll go to the rig, and we can see it's all rigged. Oops. Well, that's another part too that I haven't got into yet, is how to control the rig, and maybe some special controls to put on the rig. But that's kind of an initial set of weights for your character, how you would go about doing that. Like I said, I wasn't able to just grab a bone and move it. So I'll try and figure out how I was able to do that before. It's not obvious, obviously, in 2.8. But I think that's for the video. That's the video for today, everyone. Have a good one.